Remember
Sean's
that.
making OnlyFans. Make sure you go and subscribe to that.
Watch out for that coming soon.
Sean's OnlyFans is open.
Cam's doing a one-on-one interview with Deshaun Watson next week, exposing the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah, get ready for that. We're gonna hear the tell-all from Deshaun. Shout out.
50 likes and Sam will drop the preview to his mini movie that he made on the Bears. Fields mini movie called Fields of Dreams.
Listen here, baby. We're fucking on the field sheets tonight. All right. I might if the Bears make the playoffs, I swear to this show, I will buy a bed set like of sheets that is just Justin Fields.
I'm sure that you could go on Etsy and make like a custom bed sheet that was just Justin Fields' face. Like
if the Bears make the playoffs, I will do it. I might do it even if they don't.
Hello and welcome to the Boys Upstairs show. This is the Week 15 NFL show.
Whoa!
Woo! Absolutely wild that it's week 15. I know I've been saying that for a few weeks now, but just looking at the number 15 and knowing that there's only 18 now, I guess, crazy. This game is completely 100% on the slate because of Samuel Massaro, OG 3-year veteran member of the Boys Upstairs program. And he is, of course, Bears fan Sam. So we're talking about the Bears. The Bears are traveling to Cleveland. Cleveland's one of those teams this year that's outdoing expectations. Joe Flacco's better than Kenny Pickett through 2 games than Kenny's the whole season. So it's a crazy time right now to be a Browns fan. I'm sure Cam is just waiting to talk about it. But the Bears are traveling to Cleveland. Browns are favored by 3. Total is 38 points. Total in the 30. And we're going to give it the same.
All right. So first of all, I'm not sure why I had to try so hard to get you to get this game on the slate, because I think it is one of the more interesting games in the schedule this week. And I'll tell you why. So, and this makes me excited for the first time since I would say the end of the 2020 season. The Bears look like a functioning football team again. I liked what I saw last week. We've got hope we're a game out of a playoff spot. 5-8 could easily be 7-6 if you take away those 2 throwaway games that they just pissed out. But they look good. And I don't know what happened, what the flip up was with that defense, but it went from just being a giant sheet of Swiss cheese being a lockdown unit. I mean, 11 turnovers forced in the last 3 games. You've got dudes on all 3 levels. You've got Montez Sweat, that trade's been paying off big time. You've got the linebackers, TJ Edwards, who's leading the league in tackles, Tremaine Edmonds, Jack Sanborn. And then you've got the secondary left at the helm with Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon. I mean, you've got guys all around there that are doing work, and this defense looks good. The offense, I'm not going to go in and do a whole Justin Fields rant here because I've done that before, and I think he's the guy. I think everyone knows my stance on that point. But the Browns are similar. I wouldn't call them a similar defense, but they're arguably the best defense in the league, and they like to blitz a lot. I was at Justin Fields' first start when they played the Browns in Cleveland, and it was horrible. And meanwhile, he's grown a lot since then. But that Browns defense is still a menace. And we saw when they're playing good defenses, Bears can keep it low scoring, like they did against the Vikings, won 12-10, and they can battle it out in the trenches. And I like to see that from them. I like to see them finding a way to win games. I haven't seen that since 2020, and I guess you could say 2018, 19. But so yeah, that's a lot of that's good. And I think the key for them is to get that run game going, because it's going to be hard for Fields to keep throwing. I saw DJ Moore pop up on the injury report today. That's a bit of a problem. But if they can get that ground game going, especially with the flexibility they have at running back with Khalil Herbert, Dante Foreman, and Roschon Johnson, because I can only assume the edges of that Browns defense are going to have it in their mind that Fields is ready to run, because he'll have to be, because he's not going to have a lot of time in the pocket against a D like that. Their coverage is always good, and I believe he definitely has the talent to do it, but they're going to have to get that ground game going that has been good for them recently. And obviously I'm not going to sit here and say all this and tell you I'm taking the Browns. Bears +3, maybe Bears money line. I'm also going to go with the under for the reasons that I said. In matchups like this, historically, or at least recently, the Bears have liked to keep it low scoring. And Joe Flacco's looked good, but I mean, in the last 2 weeks, these are the 2 best defenses in football. And I'm not even saying that as a homer. The Bears' defense has been lighting up. They shut down the Lions twice and shut down the Vikings in back-to-back-to-back weeks. So I'll shut up and listen now, but Yeah, go Bears. They're down.
I don't know if it's because I'm a AFC North guy and because I'm a Baltimore fan, but I'm really impressed with what I've been seeing out of Joe Flacco in this couple weeks with the Browns. He looks really comfortable in that system. He's really been, making. I feel like his veteran presence is something that the Browns were kind of missing throughout the year. Because Deshaun Watson, even though he's a very talented player, and he's more talented than Flacco, but he doesn't have, I feel like that leadership factor that a guy that Flacco has, and kind of like the calming factor. Like you get in the huddle and like you turn around and you see Joe Flacco and you're like, all right, maybe everything's gonna be okay. So I feel like the Browns are kind of been on a good little run here. And I feel like they're gonna go in and beat the Bears, even though the Bears have been playing really good football, especially last week against the Lions. They really, really impressed me. I like what I saw out of Fields, but I feel like just to Sam's point, that the Browns defense is really what they hang their hat on more than anything. And I feel like that defense is really going to key in on, Fields and the weapons around him. So I'll go ahead and take the Browns, and just like Sam said, I'll take the under 2.
I think both of you guys just made great points. I am taking the Bears here. Shout out to Sam. Shout out to the Chi-Town people. Shout out to the Bears.
They're down.
So I'm taking the Bears here for a couple of reasons. I do agree that Joe Flacco has kind of calmed the ship a little bit for the Browns, and the Browns have a great roster like they have for the past few years now, and they've just kind of needed a quarterback really. But I think that right now the Bears are peaking, and I think that the Bears are a good enough team to cover 3 points and probably win outright. I know the game's in Cleveland, but I think the fact that the Cleveland Browns are out both tackles is a big thing. I think that the center didn't practice today. I forget his name. I think it's like Pokic. He didn't practice today, so they might be out 3 starting linemen. That's a big deal. Already out Nick Chubb, already out their first 3 quarterbacks. So I think that this is going to be the Bears game. I'm also going to take the under here. I know it's in the 30s. 38 is a low number, but I have some data. Under's 5-1 in the Bears' last 6 games. And the Cleveland Browns just don't strike me as a very potent offense right now. And I know the Bears' offense has been looking a little better, but I think under 38 is not too crazy to say, even though it's in the 30s for these two teams. And I like the Bears. Yeah, that's it. I like the Bears. I think the Bears, are seeing all this stuff that if they win out right now, they could make the playoffs too, which Sam didn't say. I don't know if he didn't want to jinx it.
I did. I said they're only a game out of the playoffs.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
Realistically, you can get into 8 and 9 at this point with how bad the NFC North is playing. Which is one more thing I did want to say, just to clear it up with my supporters. I'm not turning on the Bears offense. None of what I said is an indictment on them at all. I think they've been playing great recently. It is more of praise towards how good that Browns defense is.
This game is a little bit of an odd game. The Bears have been playing really good of recently, and I do commend them for that. They beat the Lions when I took the Lions. And they've been playing really good football. Offenses look good. Defense has been top tier the last couple weeks. Jalen Johnson, I believe, having a fantastic season. And it's a lot better than what it was. But at the same time, Browns defense is probably even better. And I think they're really going to hone in on Justin Fields. Justin Fields has only played the Browns once in his career, which was his rookie year. So obviously he's a lot different of a quarterback, and they have a lot more weapons. But he did go let me see here. I have the data.
6 for 20 with 60 yards.
Yeah, it's something along
the dome.
Yeah, I was at the game. It was his first ever. It was his first NFL start. It was awful.
Yeah, it's something along the lines of that, and obviously their defense might be better here. Yeah, 6 for 20 with 68 yards, 3 rushes for 12 yards. So obviously not very good. They surprisingly did not win that game, and
I got food poisoning at that game too.
But he's a lot different of a quarterback, but I still think Browns are going to give him trouble. Even though their offense has looked a lot better, I still think the Browns, with that rush and, their offensive line has always been a little, they've played a lot better than the Bears offensive line, but it's always a little bit of a question mark and a struggle. So I think with that kind of pass rush, it's going to force Fields into quick decisions that aren't going to be great decisions. And I think Fields is going to be, running for his life once again. And I'm also taking the under. Bears defense has been really good. Even though Joe Flacco has been making the Browns offense a lot better, it's still nothing special. And the Bears have been playing good defense. Obviously, Browns are a top 5, top 3 defense. So even though it's a low total, definitely an under type of game, but I'm gonna take the Browns.
Although Justin Fields is very good, the offense is just inconsistent at times. Like it's a roller coaster offense. It's a roller coaster to be a fucking Bears fan, and I know that because I'm good friends with Sam. But I just want to say that I think Joe Flacco has impressed me a little bit. I was at the game, and I genuinely did not. I forgot that Joe Flacco was the quarterback. So when I saw him, I was like, "What the fuck?" But he did come out and he put on a show. He led the offense. He had, like Nickson said, he had that veteran presence to where like you knew he would make the right decision in a sense. Like that out route that Deshaun Watson would probably throw into the dirt was on point. It was on time. It was on cue. So I'm definitely going to take the Browns here. I think their defense is going to shut the. I don't want to say shut the Bears' offense down because you just never know with the Bears' offense. It'll come out hot. It can come out terrible. But yeah, who knows? So I think the Bears. I don't know. Like versus the Lions, I definitely thought the Bears were going to hit a rock in the road. But considering how good the Lions' defense is, but for some reason they came out and they put up points. But that could just be the right. Yeah, who knows, right? Like that could just be the Lions and Bears just going against each other. But I think the Browns defense would put a stamp on the Bears offense, get the under and cover the spread. So I'm going with the Browns.
I'm a little sick,
No,
so
we can't see your face.
I'm taking the Bears.
Let's go. That's
you
my
know,
guy.
Flacco consistently fucks the Steelers again and again. Even when we thought he was retired, he comes back, goes on the Browns, makes it difficult for us to get in the playoffs. He did it last year on the Jets when he lost to the pathetic Dolphins. It was he just does it again and again. It's not very cool. Seems like a good guy, but he just messes with the Steelers.
You know how he worked out, Sean?
You
know how he worked out and prepared for the week?
What's that?
They said he was in the backyard playing catch with his brothers, running routes.
Hey, I just said he seems like a cool guy, but he just has something against the Steelers.
If that doesn't scream blue collar, Sean, I don't know what does.
All right, that's my take.
All right, hey, game 2 on the slate. Cowboys coming off the hottest win that they could have possibly had in the history of football, making me eat every word that I've ever said about them. Going to Buffalo, taking on the Bills. Bills are favored -1.5. Total's 50.5. We'll give it to Nickson.
Like you just said, Cowboys coming off probably what will be the win of the season for them. You take it with a grain of salt because like the Eagles did look really bad offensively, especially. And, you could credit that to the Cowboys if you want. But I feel like they win this game anyways because, the Bills have looked shaky all year. And granted, they're, last week, they're, pretty much Kadarius Toney, if he lines up on side, they lose that game. We're looking at this with a very different light. Yeah, I say the Cowboys, it's in Buffalo, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys go into Buffalo and get a big win. I'm pretty high on the Cowboys actually this year. I'm not. I've usually been one of those guys like, oh yeah, the Cowboys are going to pull the same BS every year and they're going to play well in the season and then pull some. I think that they might win a playoff game or maybe even 2. Like I'm pretty high on the Cowboys.
I think it's because of their DB play, bro. Like last year, even though they had Diggs, obviously, even you could even say with Diggs, bro, like their DB play was still shaky because it was like Diggs was like their prominent DB, and even
and it was.
Well, they're just
now
they're all just ball hawks.
That's why I'm saying like whoever the fuck their DB coach is, that guy needs to get a DC look.
Al Harris, yeah.
When they signed Gilmore, bro, I was like, what in the fuck possible could he bring?
Dude, he made AJ Brown his bitch.
No, bro. That game, bro, I was like, first rep, I was like, what is this old ass nigga doing? But
I've been very impressed by the Cowboys actually. So I think they go into Buffalo, and they go ahead and get a win. Like Buffalo in December is not a place you want to be. A lot of people will probably like take that in consideration when they're betting and be like, you know what, fuck it. Let me pick the Bills. But I think the Cowboys are a very, very good football team. And it's not just Dak has been playing great, and that's awesome. but I feel like they're really balanced. Both of their running backs have been playing pretty well. I know Pollard didn't have a touchdown for a good majority of the year, but I think I saw a stat the last 4 weeks. He's like his yards per carry have gone up like almost 2 yards or something like that. So, you in the cold weather you want to run the ball, and they've been running the ball pretty well. So I got Cowboys. I like the Cowboys here.
I'll go next, Nickson, just because although I very much agree with you, I stand on morals and principles. And like you said, a lot of people don't want to go to Buffalo in December, but I will be there this weekend. And I will be tailgating with the Buffalo fans.
You gonna be in Buffalo? Live report?
With that being said, I'm gonna have to take Buffalo here. I can't morally, it wouldn't be right for me to step into the Buffalo.
Yeah, you can't step on that city. Fading them.
I know, I can't do it. And as a Dolphin fan, I'm not gonna wear any Buffalo gear. I'm just there for visiting purposes. But still, it wouldn't be right of me to take the Cowboys here. So I'm going with Jalen. There's not really much to say here. There's just the morals and principles of the situation. Jalen, he's a good quarterback. I'm a little worried about Diggs and his inconsistent production, but hey, they making it work. They winning games. They beat the Chiefs recently. So although Diggs was not being very good at getting yards, getting catches, getting separation, honestly, but I'm going with the Bills here. Bills Mafia.
I'll follow you, Cam, because I'm going to take the Bills too. The spread is kind of confusing, and I also want to say fuck the Cowboys. We've picked them a handful of times on the show, and each time their line looks like suspicious. It's like they're favored when they shouldn't be, or they're underdogs when they shouldn't be. And each time I get it completely wrong. I think I picked them against the Niners. I picked the Eagles against them last week. So fuck the Cowboys. Sorry, Scott. Please come back on the show. We miss you. But I think this game being in Buffalo does make a difference. And aside from me not being able to figure out the Cowboys, they're good. Don't get me wrong. Like, they're a good football team. But I think I'm not saying that the Bills game this week was like, oh shit, that's showing us who the real Bills are. Like that's the good football team we remember. Like that's the contender we remember. I'm not saying that, but I do think a win like that, especially in the locker room and like around the team, is a big like boost. You just beat the defending Super Bowl champion team that's had your number for a while, and that's a big win no matter how you get it. And so I feel like that's going to carry some weight, and especially coming back home. But the thing is like we were saying, Dallas defensive backs are just a bunch of ball hawks, and it has its disadvantages and it has its advantages. More often than not this year, they've been advantages. And one of Josh Allen's biggest problems is he throws way too many interceptions. So they're going to have to figure something out there. I don't know, keep it on the ground more, let Josh Allen run, do his thing. But Josh Allen, if the Bills are going to win this game, Josh Allen needs to be on it. And he needs to limit the mistakes to a minimum. And I don't know. I feel like Dak is due for an off week. I feel like this.
I don't mean to cut you off, Sam, but is the Bills defense like healthy, like in any way, shape, or form?
I don't think it's ever been healthy. I feel like they haven't been healthy since like 2019.
No, that's a first. That's a good ad.
Yeah.
Von Miller's dealing with some personal stuff right now.
Yeah, Von Miller is in a little bit of a pickle right now. So you could say. But yeah, we'll leave that at that. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Bills here. I like to ride with the Bills. I always like watching the Bills. Took them last week. They didn't let me down in a game where they probably shouldn't have been favored. And I don't know. I feel like we've getting way too much Cowboy praise lately. And if we know one thing about the Dallas Cowboys, it's that once they start to get comfortable and people start to give them credit, that's when they let you down. Bills -2.5.
Once you think the Cowboys are like, oh shit, like that's when
once they have that, it's always they have that moment where it's like, oh shit, yeah, the Cowboys are real, and then they're like, nope, we're not.
Yeah, I'm also on the Bills train. This was a really hard game for me to pick. I feel like both these teams, they're fighting for a lot. You know, the Cowboys are fighting to win their division. They now have the same record as the Eagles, and they are a lot better of a team at home than in the playoffs. So if they want to have a chance of like getting favorable matchups, you know, winning the division should be really important to them. And, you know, the Bills are fighting for a wild card spot. They just got a big win over Kansas City, but they still need to string together a few more games if they even want to make the playoffs. So I decided to take the Bills. My thoughts were the Cowboys, before last week against the Eagles, that was their first like really, really good win. And I'm a big believer in quality wins. And, besides that, their best win is maybe Seattle, which like Seattle's pretty good, but like if that's the best team you beat, that doesn't say a whole lot. Not saying that they're bad, but like that just, that's not a lot of ammo behind your statement. They're also on a 5-game win streak. So they've won 5 games in a row. They just had to beat a really tough Eagles team. Now they have to go into Buffalo. I don't think they go into Buffalo out on a 5-game win streak after they just had probably their best win of the season. I think it's really hard to come into Buffalo and win that game. So I am taking the Bills. They're fighting for a wild card spot. Josh Allen is fighting the turnover machine allegations. And the Bills, they just got a big win against Kansas City. That could be the turning point. That's a team that means a lot to them to beat. So that could be the turning point for them, where really where I guess they turn around their play and maybe they make a late season push. And they could be like the Bengals have done the last few years, be good at the end of the year, hit the playoffs in stride, and then all of a sudden, whoa, the Bills are in the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl because they got hot at the right time. We've seen it happen before. Buffalo is a very similar team. Josh Allen, last time he played the Cowboys, it was 2019. Lot different teams. Cowboys had Amari Cooper. Bills didn't even have Stephon Diggs, but in that game, even though it was a young Josh Allen, he did destroy the Cowboys. They won. He picked them apart. No Stephon Diggs yet, and I think it's a lot better of a Cowboys team back then than it is now. So if he didn't have trouble back then when he was younger, then he probably shouldn't have trouble now. So I definitely see the Bills winning this game and the over. I just feel like this is going to be a high-scoring game. Dallas defense is good, but, no Trayvon. Their DBs are obviously playing really good, but Trayvon has been out for a while, and they're just not the same without him. And Bills' defense is just not what it normally has been, so I definitely see the over in this game as well.
So I saw some comments last week about, my little spiel about the Eagles. And I like what Coby was just talking about, how the Eagles haven't beaten anybody all year except Seahawks, who were pretty mid. And then they beat the Eagles by a lot. And that honestly changed my whole perspective about the Cowboys. Like, the only thing that could have changed my mind about the Cowboys is if they beat the shit out of the Eagles, which I said there was no universe where that was going to happen. And that's what happened. So I have to take that for what it is. However, I'm not taking the Cowboys. The only thing I'm touching this game is the first half over, which is 23.5. I have some data that's just pretty, like, you can't deny this data. The Cowboys are 11-2 this season to the first half over. That's a lot of points. They are number 1 in the NFL in first half points, which is 19.8 first half points per game. They like to score, and they like to score quick. So I'm taking the first half over. Like, I agree that I don't think the Cowboys can go into Buffalo and make it 6 straight. But I do see it happening because I don't think this Bills team is what they should be. And I also don't love that the Bills weren't playing Kyer when he was healthy. I know he's not healthy anymore, but I don't love that. So I used to be a Bills guy because of Kyer, but since they were kind of fucking him over, I don't love that. So I don't really like the Bills. I also don't like Sean McDermott talking about 9/11 to inspire the team. So I think that the first half over 23.
Fuck the Bills, bro.
I
Fuck
think
the Bills.
First half over 23.5 is the right play here. I don't want to touch the side because it's a weird 1.5 spread where I don't think the Bills should be necessarily favored. So I'm taking the first half over 23.5, and that's it.
So someone's got to do it. I hate the Cowboys, but I hate all this unwarranted hype that the Bills get. So give me the Cowboys, as much as I hate to say that, and give me the over. And that's all that needs to be said.
Blue game, Sean.
Shout out to Sean, like Cam just said, for flu gaming this episode. Best part of the show here, locks of the week. We are actually going to throw it right back to Sean. So shout out Sean.
That looks rough right now.
Sean completely forgot that he was going first for locks. Has no idea what his lock is.
I'm not ready. Give me a second.
All right.
I'll go. I'll go.
Go ahead.
Lock of the week. We had a rough week. All right. I'm not switching. I'm never switching. We already knew what was coming. Some fuck shit happened. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Some stupid shit happened. They turned the ball over. I don't know what the fuck.
Are you making excuses?
We're not making excuses.
Fuck shit happened.
At the end of the day, this is bound to happen to fulfill the wants of the NFL fans.
He lost to Will Levis on national television.
He was on national television when his girlfriend was hot as fuck. People get on national television all the time, Tom. Either way, shit happened. We fucked up. I think we are pissed off. We are a mad unit. We're a mad group of people. We want to get shit done. Zach Wilson, man, I don't know what the fuck is going on in New York. There was a quote that he put out He said, "What's the worst that could happen? They gonna bench me again?" If that's
That's a
what you're,
that's a dangerous man, Cam.
He's in full villain era now. He gives no fucks.
if that's what your quarterback is saying, walking into one of the most high offensives in the league, I would not want to be on that offense. I wouldn't want to be a receiver or O lineman or running back or nothing. I wouldn't even want to be the OC. With that being said, I don't even think the Jets put up 8 points in this game. So I'm going to take Dolphins -8.5. Fins up, go Tua. I'm praying he doesn't turn the ball over twice in the last 3 minutes. We win this game. So there we go.
My lock for this week is featuring the Saturday night primetime game, Thursday Night Football Saturday edition, as people like to call it. I'm taking the Denver Broncos +4 against the Detroit Little Kittens.
Whoa!
Yeah, because I've been saying it all year, and I love Dan Campbell, and I love how much he respects my franchise, but the Lions are fucking frauds. They are not that good.
This guy, your Bears beat the Lions, and you just
we should have beaten them twice in the last 3 weeks. Jared Goff can't stop turning the ball over. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a dropping machine little bitch last week, like he is. Shout out to Amon-Ra, you know where I am. And next to that, the Broncos have been playing some really good football recently. I've said a couple weeks ago, they've turned it around big time. They've righted that ship. They look good. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Lions are a terrible team because they're not. They're 9-4. They're winning the division for a reason. But that being said, in their last 3 weeks, they went and got handed what should have been a surefire loss. They got handed a win against my Bears. Went and beat New Orleans by a score. That was whatever. It wasn't really that impressive. And then went and got their doors blown off by my Bears last week. So they're in a little bit of a down stretch right now. And I feel like they need another loss or something to really kind of kick them into the mode. Because I feel like almost like the Cowboys, they were getting a little comfortable with their spot and thinking, oh, we're the Lions, when in reality they haven't done shit. They've won 9 games of the regular season, and that doesn't mean anything. So I think the Broncos are a good football team. They are, and they know how to turn over quarterbacks. They know how to turn over offenses, and that's been a big weakness for Jared Goff lately. Also, 4 points, I can see the Lions winning, but if it is, I think it's by like a field goal or something. I think 4 is a lot. A lot of the spreads this week are either really high or really low. So I kind of like that one, and I'll take 4 points for a team that I think is going to win.
I'm going to jump in next because I have the Detroit Lions -4 against the Denver Broncos. So I didn't know that Sam was taking the opposite of me in this game, but I'm not at all dissuaded by what he just said. The Lions are 6-0 this season following a loss. They are a team that is good despite our whole lives, them being bad. I think that Sam and a lot of people are still in that the Lions cannot be good. It's impossible for the Lions to be good. I still think that they have all of the components of a good football team. Yes, Jared Goff plays bad against the Bears. That's just one of those things. Jalen Hurts plays bad against the Commanders. It's just one of those things. But I still think that in this game, the Lions will cover 4. The Lions are a much better team than the Denver Broncos. I know the Denver Broncos are like a mid. They have a really good defense. Their defense is coming to its own. I think that they are a good enough team to, keep themselves in some games, but I think the Lions are motivated in this game because they just came off a bad divisional loss. They're a 9-4 football team. They're not a bad football team. I think they'll cover 4 points here. And they're at home, and they're a much better team at home too. Last week they're at Soldier Field. I think this was a good bounce back game. So Lions -4 is my lock of the week.
I have a very similar thought with my lock as you, Tommy, because I'm kind of going with the bounce back narrative too. I'm going to take the Chiefs, who are going into Foxborough on Sunday against Coby's Patriots. Chiefs coming off a tough loss, and they really need to start stringing some wins together because they know the Broncos are right on their ass. They have to kind of sort of get ready to if they want to, make a playoff push as far as like actually making noise in the playoffs and not just getting in. They have to start stringing some good wins together. And after last week, I feel like the whole Kadarius Toney offside situation, kind of will rally the troops together a little bit in the locker room. You know what I mean? And they go into Foxborough. They go and they beat a Patriot team that's been really, up and down. I know they just beat the Steelers last week on Thursday. Bailey Zapp balled the fuck out, but I mean, that he played the best game of his career. Is he going to play like that back-to-back weeks? I don't think
They also just said that Belichick is going to be gone after this season. Like,
yeah, there's that narrative going around. So there's a lot of turmoil going around on the Patriots side, and I feel like the Chiefs are kind of poised for a big bounce back win here. So I'll take them. It's a lot of points. It's over a touchdown, 7.5. But the Patriots have been notorious for getting blown out. I mean, they got 30 balled by the Saints this year. So if Derek Carr could do it, then Patrick Mahomes could do it.
Give me the Jags plus 3.5 for the Ravens.
All right,
The
Sean.
Ravens suck.
whoa,
Overrated.
Really,
Whoa.
Sean?
Yo!
Thank you.
What the actual fuck? I guess the Ravens suck now, guys. Number one team in the AFC's ass.
yeah, number one team.
We're ass.
I mean, I understand why Sean's saying that as a Steelers fan.
No, I get it, but it's just like, wow.
My lock is the 49ers and the Cardinals over 47.5. 49ers, they're a team that loves to run up the score. We have seen multiple times this year the 49ers run up the score on the Eagles. They did it on the Jaguars. They did it on the Cowboys early in the season, on Arizona when they played them earlier this season. So they like to run it up on the Giants multiple times. Monday night, whatever it was. Or no, sorry, that was the Cowboys. But they blew out Pittsburgh. They blew out the Giants. They blew out the Cardinals. They blew out everyone. They love running the score up, and they have no problem running the score up against an elite Cardinals defense, which is sarcasm. And then the Cardinals, ever since Kyler Murray came back, their offense has been a little bit better, even if it's marginally. They averaged 16.7 points per game before Kyler, so with Josh Dobbs and I think maybe what was it, Clayton Tune played one game.
Literally anything is better than Clayton Tune.
Yeah, they averaged 16.7, but now they average about 20.
I never want to hear anything bad about Clayton Tune ever again on this podcast.
We gave
Clayton
Clayton
Tune, come on
Tune
the
an
pod,
open
come on the
invite
pod.
to this show, and he threw like 4 passes completed the next week.
He's growing, all right? He needs time.
Yeah, he's almost there. His time is coming, but
He's so close.
Kyler's got them up to 20 points a game. So even if they do get blown out, I still think they'll put up a decent amount of points. Obviously San Fran has top defense in the NFL, one of the top defenses, but I still think Arizona will be able to put up 14 to 21 points, and I think that's all they're going to need. And 49ers are probably going to run up the other 30 points. There's no reason why they shouldn't. This game earlier this season hit 51. The line's at 47.5, so it already hit. And that was obviously Josh Dobbs isn't bad, but I still think Kyler's doing a better job. So I think something similar is going to happen. And the 49ers and the Cardinals are going to cover at least 47.5.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe and tell your friends as well.
Hit that thumbs up.
Hit that thumbs up, hit that bell. Follow us on Instagram. Buy some merch, maybe, if you feel so inclined.
Get the merch.
If you don't buy fucking merch, I'll hunt you down.